eBay.
eBay.
I don't want to keep hearing eBay.
eBay. Why not? Why don't you want to hear eBay constantly on loop? What is your reasoning behind not wanting to see eBay constantly on loop?
Because it's bad just hearing it constantly on loop.
But that's the fun. Alright, peeps and sheeps. Today we are going to be trying out, I went on the internet and I found, last time we were playing Flash games and we were playing dating sims. So now, we're going to be playing something even better. We're going to be playing Transformers dating sims. Now, I got this one right here that I downloaded off of sketchywebsite.net. Alright. It is TFA Dating Sim Rest and Repair Demo. Alright. So I'll just extract all. Extracting. Hold on. Did I just see something but a file by the name of Megatron Blush?
Okay, I can't keep hearing you twice.
And mute the stream.
Nothing's even showing on the stream right now.
Well, yeah, because it's literally just a picture. I haven't done anything yet. I'm currently extracting the files. Because I didn't do it yesterday.
Come on, bro.
Quality
Oh,
stream here, guys.
There. That's what I've been looking for. I've been looking for stop signs. That sounds weird to say. But it'll make more sense later, Jerry.
Okay. 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 It's fully extracted. Now, let's play some Rest and Repair Demo. And then there's another one called Rest and Repair Demo 32. I swear to God, if I...
fucking just delete the thing. What the hell?
Oh. Oh. Oh my God.
What?
This is horrible.
Jerry, I can't see anything.
I know, give me a second.
Like, how bad are we talking here?
You'll see on the stream.
Oh shit, I deleted the wrong thing. Undo.
Oh, wait, I pressed start. No, wait, okay. Hello, and thank you for playing the demo of the Rest and Repair TFA Dating Sim. A fan game was made. This fan game was made to focus on some of our favorite older bots from TFA. To streamline character interactions, this game is set in an alternate universe which ignores some TFA canon and integrates some other continuities, mainly from G1 and IDW, as well as bits and pieces from other continuities like Beast Wars and Prime. You don't need to know anything about any other continuity to enjoy the game, but there will be spoilers, concepts, and characters from those medias strewn throughout. We hope you enjoy. What's your name for this adventure?
I'm about to look at the.
What's a horrible OC? Muffler. I'm gonna call myself Cussy.
Yeah. Oh, so cushy. Be cushy.
This designation for this adventure is Cussy. Is this correct? Yes. Welcome, Cussy. God. Uplink. Today marks the 20th stellar cycle since the Decepticon warlord Megatron escaped from Tripticon prison. His
I
whereabouts are
hate
still
this.
unknown, but the Autobot Elite Guard reassures the citizens of Cybertron that they are working tirelessly to ensure all safety to all Autobot civilians. The former stand-in Magnus, Sentinel Prime, outwardly expressed his concerns to our reporters about the situation. Ultra Magnus may have been reinstated as Magnus in the last few stellar cycles, but that does not mean we can slacken our duties as Autobots. Tripticon Prison revealed Decepticons amongst our myths, weaknesses, and our very own internals, working to shatter us from the inside. Let this be a lesson to all that we need to stay vigilant, and any suspicious Decepticon-like activity should be reported and immediately will be punished. This interview was cut short due to a freak acid storm. However, Cybertronian hero and future Magnus Optimus Prime had this to add before his departure from Cybertron to seek out Decepticon leader Megatron. It is true that we were never able to identify or capture the supposed spy within the Autobot Intelligence Division that helped free Megatron. However,
Guess
there's...
who it was?
I wonder who that might be. However, there are bots in command, and I have full trust in working hard to ensure that no harm will come to Cybertron. We wish you a safe voyage, and we will miss you on Cybertron, Optimus Prime. In other news, the Cybertronian Elite Guard introduction ceremony is today, welcoming the new range of talented bots into the ranks of our esteemed military. We'll be broadcasting the whole thing in a few moments, so stay tuned. Today is the Cybertronian Elite Guard introduction ceremony, which graduates the Autobots Academy who have shown great potential and are inducted into the ranks of Autobot military with Elite Guard status, which you just happen to be a part of. Too bad that you're late for your own induction. Bolting out of your berth, bolting out of, bolting up out of birth? You mean breath? You check your chronometer on your berth side table and throw off your warming tarp to rush out of your apartment and head straight out to the ceremony. Luckily, as you speed through the streets of Iacon, you're not stopped by any roaming police bots that manage to dash through the back doors of the ceremony building. If you can make it backstage within the next 5 clicks, they won't even know you were missing. Crash. In your rush, you manage to fall under a larger mech, causing you to fall on your aft ungracefully. I'm sorry I wasn't watching where I was running.
This was hard.
Watch where you're going. I'm late for my own induction. Ow. I'm gonna do the first one. The bot extends a servo down for you, offering to help you up. You take it, the figure speaking as your optics reconfigure to focus on the mech that just barreled into you. If I'm not mistaken, racing isn't permitted indoors. You immediately stand to attention upon realizing the mech in front of you was none other than the Elite Guard Supreme Commander himself, Ultra Magnus. You know, the current leader of Cybertron, your soon-to-be boss. Why does he have a heart where the Autobot symbol should be? He's decorated in his accomplishments and the only attire reserved for ceremonies such as today. The Magnus is in charge of bestowing stripes upon the Elite Guard members of the graduating class, which you happen to be a part of due to your talents, intelligent work, and oddly specific knowledge of organics. I'm sorry, Ultra Magnus, sir. I woke up later than expected. I'm about to miss my own induction if I don't hurry. Now, why would that happen on such an important day for you? I was, masturbating. You're up all night watching archival footage of the Great War. The Great War began... the Great War being 4 million year civil war in which the Autobots and Decepticons fought for control over Cybertron roughly 2 million years ago. You've always loved to study Great Warrior, both Autobot and Decepticon. It helps you excel in the Autobot Academy, using this knowledge to rise above your fellow classmates. You particularly enjoyed watching Ultra Magnus and Megatron duke it out, seeing their skills during their peak. Ultra Magnus with his hammer controlling the battlefields with lightning and strategy, and Megatron with his brute strength, fusion cannon, and centuries of gladiatorial experience. You always wished you could witness something like that firsthand.
Sorry, did you say fusion cannon? And I just came back. What?
I don't know. You snap out of your memory, realizing that Ultra Magnus was still looking at you for an answer. What do you say? Explain yourself honestly or dishonestly. Honestly, I need to get laid. I was up late studying some old war footage, sir. I can feel you can feel you can feel your faceplate heat up as you confess one of your quiet, guilty pleasures to the one people you study frequently. The Great War has always intrigued you, spending most of your free time studying it from documentaries, novels, both non-fictional and fictional. By a stroke of luck,
Some,
Ultra Magnus cracked a small smile. Aw, yeah, baby, we're about to get laid. Fuck, I missed a certain one. Hold on. History. Uh, well, I wouldn't make this a habit if I were you. I see the workings of a future. I see the workings of a future prime, but let this be a warning. Now get back to your post, soldier. I expect these studies to come to good use in the field. Yes, sir. You stand tall, saluting. You power walk away from the Magnus, face completely flushed and optics glued to the floor. You hope to Primus that Ultra Magnus will forget about this interaction. You hope that you'll forget about this interaction. Miraculously, the ceremony went off without a hitch despite your tardiness. You were able to not only get your elite guard badge, but you were able to shake Ultra Magnus' servo as he praised you. The interaction in the hall seemingly forgotten. Or perhaps he was just well practiced in front of a crowd. Whatever it was, you were an official elite guard Autobot intelligence agent. The best of the best. You're feeling pretty good about now, thinking about all your struggles through the Autobot Academy. You had a rather traumatizing event that occurred in the middle of the time that you were in the academy that you've labeled the incident. Because of the incident, it was quite difficult. It was a quite difficult trek to get back to where you needed to be to follow your dreams of being in the elite guard. And somehow, I don't know, and somehow you excelled expectations, burying yourself in the studies, practice to make sure you don't fall behind any more than you already had. However, the trade-off was your social life. So what better way to change all that to befriend your now fellow Elite Guard Autobots? It's time to unwind amongst the Elite Guard personnel after induction party. This is your chance to make some friends. Just eyeing the crowd, you notice several notable mechs. You look towards a small group, recognizing bots to be Cyber Ninja Jazz, Intelligence Agent Blur, and the scout bot who aided the capturing of Megatron, Bumblebee.
bro, dude, it's Cyber Ninja Jazz, bro. He was dope in the show. Sorry.
Yeah. Why are all their Autobot symbols hearts?
Okay, wait, I'm not watching the stream anymore, so just can you send them over to Discord? I gotta see this. Like, it was so hard watching I watched the stream later, but it was so hard watching the stream because I'd hear you and then but then the stream wouldn't line up with what you're saying.
Well, yeah, I have a bit of
Like
lag.
5 to 10 second lag.
Hey man, don't be shy. Come kick it with us. We're just talking about you, actually. You look at Jazz, surprised. He waves his servo and invites you over, a warm smile on his faceplate. Anyone looking around for a moment to make sure he wasn't talking to anyone else, you finally walk over. Alright, no, wait, I can't even read what Blur's saying!
Wait, is it so fast that you can't read it?
It keeps going away! We were simply discussing the various types of criteria that led to I'm gonna get this right. Hold on. Shut up. We were simply discussing the various types of criteria that led to the many new chosen Elite Guard members to the current positions in the system versus how is the stellar cycles ago. I was just starting out. You, for example, with your odd extensive knowledge of organic and unorganic life forms have been arbitrarily before Megatron's captured. Now that we've survived possible new energy sources in the organic plants as well, it would make sense for a bot with the specific database Decepticon power sources.
What?
You nod along, catching absolutely nothing of what the Velocitronian bot had just said.
Yeah, that's an accurate description for what Blur is.
You look to another two bots and you look to the other two bots in hopes they can continue the conversation instead. You seen Bumblebee shove Blur aside for a moment. Anyways, I totally remember you because was totally awake during the ceremony. But can you remind me what it is for these fellas? My name? Oh, it's Cussy.
Oh no, dude, it should have been Translucy.
Well, Cussy, it's great to see a new faceplate around here. It's been a bit stale the last few seller cycles, if I'm being honest. The cons have been pretty much quiet, but you know that means trouble's brewing. Oh god, more Blur. No doubt Megatron and his goons are planning some sort of big attack with the recent data leak of the Intel spy before his arrest resurfacing. I don't doubt that we'll be seeing a spike in suspicious activity all around Cybertron. Longarm Prime is successfully busy in the preparation of the influx of calls doing the Sentinel Prime's fear-mongering. Longarm Prime, you know, that guy, he seems kind of familiar.
Wait, he's actually a Prime in this?
Yeah. You try to keep up with your fellow Intel bots, saying that as important, but your attention is just taken away by the elegant black, white, and gold mech standing just across the room, sipping a small drink. First thing you see in the mech was how elegant he was. That's Master Yokotron, I think. The second thing you notice is the mech was very Jazz and Prowl's teacher and Cyber Ninja. The second thing you notice from the mech was his very important helmet. You suddenly realize the bot to be Master Yokotron, head of the Cyber Ninja division. You didn't expect to see him, knowing he rarely leaves the dojo as he protects that technology within, as well as the long-recovered protoforms that were stolen several decacycles ago. Despite him standing alone, you can tell he was not uncomfortable, but simply bot-watching. He scans the room as he sips his drink. Then his optics look at yours for a brief moment. Yokotron gives you a soft smile and a soft nod with his glass. You pry your gaze away, feeling flustered you were caught staring. Just a quick glance left you feeling out of breath, so much it was so hard to focus all of a sudden. Why is it actually kind of good, though? I expected this to be crap.
I mean, but it's kind of cringe.
It is kind of cringe, but like, it's like cringe, but also like kind of good, and I don't know why. I expect this to be like some cringe thing. You haven't even you haven't even had any Ngex yet. I need to know what's Ngex. Hold on.
Maybe it's like your masturbation or something. Love? I don't know.
Ngex is the way for Transformers to become inebriated from the IDW comics.
Oh, obviously. So it's the Transformers version of beer.
I
Or
think
alcohol.
yeah. Jazz seems to notice the change in your demeanor, taking a moment to glance over his shoulder to see what caught your optic. You good, Cussy? I can't! How do you respond? Ask about Yokotron, pretend nothing happened. Alright, Rogue, how are we gonna get laid? Which one should we choose?
Well, do we want to go for Yokotron or do we want to go for Jazz?
Why not both?
Then ask about Yokotron.
Ask about Yokotron. That bot over there, that's Master Yokotron, correct? I thought I'd never see him outside of Cyber Ninja territory. Jazz takes another moment to quickly steal a glance at Yokotron, who seems moved his attention to Sentinel, who was currently making a small scene at the corner of who knows what. Yeah, pretty weird seeing him out here, too. He's pretty dedicated to the job, but it's nice to see him out and about, especially with all the cultural aspects of Earth leaking onto Cybertron. The scene's been getting pretty wild out there, you dig? Blur seems to have stopped talking momentarily to listen to what Jazz had to say. Alright. Are you... Okay, let's do this. Well, I've heard the... Well, I've heard the apprentice of that was going to take over his position, so seeing him outside of Cyber Ninja walls is probably a pretty good sign. He's always been pretty mysterious, eh? Yeah, Prowl. If anything, I bet Prowl's the reason he's even at the party. You know, practice for when he's not the head honcho anymore. Prowl's fucking dead! Prowl's dead!
Wait, what?
Prowl died to make the Allspark whole again.
Spoilers.
I thought you said you already watched the show.
I was on season 3.
Yeah, you weren't that far. Blur starts talking again. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, dude. It's not that big of a moment, but there's still other stuff, so. Blur starts talking again. You're not really paying attention. Your mind starts wondering if a Cyber Ninja Master Party is interested in chatting with you. After all, this was a party, and you were meant to make friends despite their status and general mystery. Who knows? Maybe you have more in common than you thought.
Call him Cyber Ninja Master Oogway. That's a new name.
Oogway. You turn towards the Cyber Ninja Master Oogway, who was where the Cyber Ninja Master Oogway was standing, only to realize he was gone. Scanning the room, you can't seem to spot the white and golden mech at all. Had he really slipped out without anyone noticing? Somehow that saddens you, but you might return to mingling with the rest of the bots at the party. Uplink. A month has gone by in the 20th stellar cycle of the 20th anniversary of Megatron's escape. And with the rampant crime across Iacon, there's a reminder to all Autobot civilians to stay vigilant. We don't know who could be a Decepticon in our midst. Your coworkers, your neighbors, even your friends, or even your mom. You turn off the screen embedded embedded in the wall of the general office space, to which several other desks of your fellow Intel mechs, with a relief of constant newsfeed being silenced by just a moment. Sighing to yourself as well, you look over at the scattered bits of data work. Your first month on the job has been rather lackluster, focusing mainly on busy desk work. The increase of crime across Cybertron, with the focus in Iacon, lent to a flood of Decepticon reportings. Unfortunately, this means that Metroplex, the Autobot intelligence headquarters, had been flooded with reports on the irregular, tripling, boring workload of the office. You were hoping that Megatron would just attack at this point.
The massive fucking Autobot? Bruh.
He's a fucking city. Or, no, he's not even a city anymore. He's just a fucking building.
Is he literally just... Is he really just a building?
Apparently. That's what I got from this. You were hoping that Megatron would just attack at this point. You'd probably die, but at least you didn't have to look at another datapad complaining about someone who walked too Decepticon-like.
Sorry, that's great. You'd probably die. Okay.
Just then, the sliding doors of the office space open, revealing the red bot who you recognize as Cliffjumper. He walks to your desk, focusing on the datapad in his servos before handing it to you. You take it with a frown, upset to see another datapad, though you realize this one isn't data work as you look it over. Longarm Prime, which is to speak with you, Agent Cussy. You look over at the documentation before heading towards the Prime's office. Documentation simply states bits about your specialization in organics, as well as your test scores in the Autobot Academy. Walking through the halls of Metroplex was easier now compared to when you first started. You're rather poor with directions, but you manage to find Longarm Prime's office, knocking on the door before it slides to reveal Longarm Prime sitting behind his desk. He's typing something on a console in front of him with a concerned look. He's texting Megatron.
Holy is.
When he notices you, he perks up, the screen lowering into the desk as you move to stand in front of him. Ask why you called him into an office, compliment his finish, plead innocence. I need to get laid, so compliment his finish. Looking exceptional today, sir. Did you recently get waxed? He fidgeted nervously with the datapad in your servos as Longarm looks at you confused, and then his own frame before standing. Thank you? But there's no need to worry, Cussy. You're not in any trouble. You sigh in relief.
That was good.
Fuck, I forgot how to do my shockwave voice. Hold on. I just wanted to congratulate you on your first successful month, and wanted to give you a proper mission in person. Longarm gives you a warm smile, your circuits relaxing before tensing back up right into the exciting news. My first mission, sir? I'm sending you on a small mission to one of the local solar planets. Supposedly an organic one, with raw energon reportings. Reportings? What am I, fucking British? Now you're Now you're wondering why I'm not sending a scientist instead. Well, in the rise of Decepticon activity, only a trained intel bot can do this job quietly and efficiently. If we send out a team of scientists, there surely will be complications. But if I send out specifically trained bot with organic knowledge to rival even our own best scientists, I'm not going to look into a gift cyber horse in the intake. So what do you say, Cussy? Do you think you're ready for this? You take a moment to catch your breath. An actual field mission. This was it. This was your dream. Yes, sir. I'll do my very best to ensure these samples are delivered and meant immediately. Longarm smiles at your excitement, sitting back down. Oh, and do remember that security is very strict right now, especially with the supposed traitor in our midst. Gee, I wonder who that could be. Keep any information about this mission quiet, including whatever you experience out there, and whatever you return with. Report to me immediately once you return. Understood? You salute, giving your word as Longarm dismisses you. Gee, I wonder who this traitor is, guys. It's like so... I can't think. Excitedly, you exit his office, but as soon as you do, you can't help but feel Prime's optics on your back as you close the door, as the doors close. It's been several cycles since you were assigned your mission. Preparations have been made to ensure your exit out of Cybertron was quiet. Only a handful of bots knew you were leaving, most being other intel bots and the few people you had to interact with to get your required equipment for the trip. You just need to make it to the Iacon Southern loading docks to snag the ship you were assigned. Mildly disguised, you take a quick ride through the back streets of Iacon, though you were never really traversed through the back streets before. As you turn a corner, you realize you might be lost. Surely, if you go down the street, you'll make it back to the familiar landmark, right? Which direction should you go? Right. You turn right before traveling for a bit before hitting a dead end. You sigh, realizing this wasn't the correct direction. Attempting to backtrack, you end up even more lost than you were before.
Oh my god, Ben. Why am I a woman? What the fuck?
Why not?
No. Well, first of all, I have a 5-star wanted level as I'm trying to do this.
Not really the most... Oh, sorry.
And I'm being shot at. And
not really the most secretive of things. You try to find the most unsuspecting bot to ask directions from, and somehow you catch a glimpse of this familiar teal-green frame and Cygar arm wrestling mech twice the size. Is it fucking Bulkhead? On the top of some shipment crates from Macadam's old oil house, and somehow he was winning. You make your way to the bot as he smashes through the servo down, exposing the mech to the opposing mech.
Bulkhead's not teal green, he's just regular green.
True. Letting out a hearty laugh before the larger mech and his pals cough up whatever Shane nixes they owed to the retired Elite Guard mech. Oh, it's Cup!
Oh!
The defeated mechs grumble and stumble back to the bar, leaving Cup alone to count his winnings. Cup minor, sir? The bot in question spins around, surprised at first before a grin spreads across his face. Now would you look at that? Cussy, how you been, kid? I haven't seen you since... His expression softens. Cup was one of the few who knew the details of the incident. After all, he was the first person you went to after the whole situation, and the person who got in contact with your current therapist. Did I get raped or something? After you graduated from Autobot boot camp, you have kept in contact with Cup. He's one of the most influential bots of your journey, especially with the Elite Guard, finding comfort in his tale and company, especially when you were checking out the facts of the Great War with him. You know, this reminds me of a time with the Petro Rabbits. I don't know, Cup. I don't think Cup was in Animated. I think he was a background character.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Let me check. Yeah, he was a background character. Hmm. Y- you know, this reminds me of a battle on Alpha 9 when the Petro Rabbits were. Grimlock, get your noodle out of my face. Me, Grimlock, love Cup's war stories. You're living one now.
Is that like the actual text, or is that just?
No, that's from the movie.
I'm sorry, but that would have been great if it was actually just Grimlock there, because he was in the show.
Yeah. Yep. I remember the dust was so thick off Beta 4, had to use the windshield wipers on your optic sensors. Me, Grimlock, know all about wipers. Want to hear good part of story? Good part, Cup. Tell Swoop good part.
Come on, get on with the thing.
Okay. The dust was real thick, and then there was this gigantic ick-yak.
Trumping and stumping down the mountain.
Yep, like the shriek bats of Dromedon. Yeah, you know how you beat them? I'm trying to remember. There were awful lot of casualties that day.
Oh
Oh
yeah, you
yeah, we
inverted
inversed
polarity.
polarities.
I already know what he's gonna say because I watched the movie so many times, so I already know the title. Lines that he's supposed to say. And it's Shrek Bats of Dromedon, that's what he says.
Oh. Fix me. There's a piece missing. Well, I still think I'm short for a part. But all things considered, you did an amazing job, lad. Yeah, you even got rid of the nasty burr in my rotator. Now let's find the dinos and get off this twisted planet. Of all the circuit glitch diode blowing dim wittery, I told you a part was missing. Yeah, what? Instead of saying a hate cup, they should have said something like a ba weep grano weep mini bot.
Okay, I'm just
Offer
gonna
them a
leave.
offer them an energon goodie. No more.
I'm out. No, this is great. I don't even have to add any barriers or anything to my GTA map. I just need to have it on 5-star wanted level.
You went quiet after you started therapy, though, locking yourself away until you returned to the academy a few stellar cycles later. What the fuck is this incident? I want to know.
What happened?
Yeah, sorry for not keeping in touch. I got pretty busy when I went back to the academy. Still amazed they let me come back at all. Did he, like, get his arms blown off or something?
What happened?
It could be either really dark or he could have simply gotten, like, battle damage. Cuff scoffs, a puff of vapor emitting from his mouth as he gestures to the badge on your chest. His grin gets slightly wider. Well, they'd be damn blind to reject elite guard talent for a few stellar cycles of processor health absence. I
What
remember
happened?
I remember when you just were a starry opticized cadet, face buried in data novels, fantasizing about your solo missions off-world instead of doing your drills. He gives you a pointed look, calling you out for something you long thought you'd gotten away with back in the day, but apparently not. You adjust your disguise and cough. Speaking of, you're definitely up to something, aren't you, kid? Tell him you're on a mission, tell him you're lost, tell him you're not up to anything. Lost. I'm actually lost, sir. I was trying to take a shortcut to the southern loading docks, but I'm turned around, and it's been a while since I've been out. Which wasn't a lie. You hadn't really been out and about in Icon and Stellar Cycles, focusing on your studies and training in the academy and whatever the fuck happened to you back in 1974. You see Cup adjust his posture, looking around for a moment before gesturing over his shoulder with a thumb and some signage. You were never really one for the directions, were you? You follow where his thumb is pointing and realize the sign said Southern Icon Loading Docks. Your face flushes in embarrassment, but Cups a seed you lose your way around an empty room before. It's nothing you haven't experienced before from you. Since you seem to be in a hurry, promise you'll grab a drink with me and catch up, got it? It's been way too long. You become quite the mech since your boot camp days. You can see by the way he puffs out his chest that he was feeling proud as he looks over at your elite guard badge. You give him a nod, also feeling to show off your old sergeant just how far you've come. I promise. You give him a small wave goodbye as you transform and head off to start your mission, feeling really good about yourself, and watch Cuff vanish in your rear view mirror. It didn't take long before you loaded into your ship, surveying the small thing. It was a newer model, fast and reliable. Now that you were situated, you exhale and sit behind the wheel. It was time to focus on the mission. What the fuck happened to my guy? What is this incident?
Yo, what the fuck?
Do I have to go on Google and watch someone explain it? The trip wasn't a problem. It was short, quick, and without issues. Or at least not until the very end when you were about to land. No, what happened? By some stroke of luck, you land safely. But what in the world just happened? After your miraculously safe landing, you go to inspect outside your shift, sorting around what could have caused your crash and find your power fuse is damaged. You scratch your helm, wondering how that could have happened on a fairly new ship. Going over to your communication console, you also find that the raw energon is interfering with your signal, leaving you stranded. So you decide to go on a trek through the small moon-sized jungle planet, searching for the supposed raw energon deposits you were required to get samples for. Obviously, Shockwave knew we were up to something, so he wanted us killed.
But you didn't die.
But hey, that's just a theory. A gay theory.
Thanks for watching.
Surely the tools you had could get refine a bit into a temporary fix that could help you get back to the Autobot airspace, but you couldn't stay long. The raw energon was unstable, and being exposed to it for a long period of time could easily put a bot in stasis lock, aka robot cancer. It would have delayed your mission substantially, but if you had ordered a custom suit to protect you, so you decided to go without any protection. As long as you don't stay for more than a few hours, you should be able to return to Cybertron relatively fine. However, as you step through a leaf-covered ground, you slip right through it and fall into a hole. You land on your aft. I'm not saying that. I'm just gonna say ass. You land on your ass, quickly trying to stand and freeze, but your optics scan the cavernous room of large, raw, unstable energon and a large gray mech wedged into the middle of it all. It wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make any sudden moves if I were you. Or I wouldn't make any sudden moves if I were you. Oh my god, it's Megatron! The low growl of the Decepticon ran straight into your spinal strut. You reach out for a blaster, pausing, looking around the raw energon crystallize all about the cave room. Looking back at Megatron, you notice that the gray mech was wedged tightly in the midst of all these crystals. From just a quick glance, you could tell the larger bot had fallen through a similar leaf trap like you, but due to his heavy stature, he managed to lodge himself into the deposit, arms and legs immobilized. For at least a moment, as if he moved, the whole cave would definitely explode from the unstable material. You swallow hard, realizing you had a chance to run, but something stops you. Well, Megatron stops you, a grin on his lips. He's the reason for the incident. He is your Uncle Toby.
Sorry, what?
I'm coming up with different scenarios of what this fucking incident could be.
But he was the actual cause of the incident.
No, I just said that.
No.
Oh, how lucky of me to have a poor little Autobot find me in such a predicament. Surely you know long exposure to raw energon is deadly, and any sudden moves can set off the explosive, unstable property of the crystals. I'll be back. Megatron's breasts touch up against yours. Alright, where was I? Even physically touching it with bare metals can cause an even the hardest of warframes to crumble into stasis. You inhale sharply, realizing the warlord has been doing just that. Though you don't know for how long. Though even in his weakened state, you knew that the mech could easily bite your helm off. If you leave me here, I'll surely offline. What? That's that's kind of. I think that's a typo. If you leave me here, I'll surely offline. Okay, yeah. So there's a typo here. For the developers. Or perhaps I'll simply detonate the energon, and we can both go out together. Megatron gently tugs his servos lodged in the energon enough to make a small crackling sound. The raw energon begins to glow, sending a pulse through the both of you, causing you both to double over in pain. You wince, the energon exposure surely doing something to him as well. Maybe even worse since he has emerged in the material. Ugh. However, I have something you need in my server right here. He nods his helm towards one of his stuck arms. I have nothing to lose, Autobot. If I were you, if I were to stay here to die, I might as well set off this energon and take us both to the pits.
Wait, time out. I think I now know why Longarms or Shockwave sent you to that planet.
Because he
So
wants you
you
to
can,
free Megatron?
yes, not to kill
Probably.
you.
Probably.
Dude, 'cause it would be weird if, you know,
Because Longarm is, as established in Transformers Animated, Longarm is the spy.
yes. But,
And he obviously knows that Megatron's there.
but he can't be going around stuff because he's the head eight. He's the head of the
Honcho.
he's the head honcho of the intelligence, and that person can't just be going around to places.
Yeah, so he just sends you. You quickly glance down as much. Oh, wait. So, if you help me escape my current confines, I'll spare both of our metals and not detonate us. The estimated blast radius is too large for even the fastest speedster to outdrive. And like I said before, I have something that'll help you off this planet. He did know you were stranded. Did he sabotage you? You give him a skeptical look, to which you see a glimmer of impatience in his optics. By his tones, you tell he's been here for far longer than he'd like. You've heard about the unyielding patience within Triptychon prison, but you were one lone intel agent on an empty planet, not a secure prison in safe Autobot territory. How about I spare your spark indefinitely? Tempting, surely. You stare at him widely opticed, contemplating your choices. Somehow you feel he isn't bluffing about offlining both of you if you leave. What will you do? I'll help him. Why not? Because I feel if I leave, he's gonna blow me the fuck up. So, against your better judgment, you slowly crawl your way over toward the Decepticon leader, not wanting to risk another fall onto the material. He grins down at you, causing you to swallow hard. You study War Records documentary, his captured self in the parade, and even the trial, but up close, you could really tell all the mech's details. Even worn down by raw energon exposure, but he was still built incredibly sturdy and just very big. To avoid touching the energon more than you needed to, you crawl onto his lap. You feel the rumble of his frame as he chuckles. Forward, aren't we? Flirt back? Tell him to shut up, stay quiet. Okay, now we're gonna get laid, people. We're getting laid today, people. I'm gonna flirt back. Despite your nerves, you have to admit the Decepticon was very handsome under all that terrifying demeanor. Maybe I am. You know, a lot of Autobots fantasize about Decepticons.
I'm sorry, what?
Are you telling that they jerk their fucking oil hose to Decepticons?
Oh no, dude, it's.
Do they polish their fusion cannons with
No, no,
thoughts about
it's just
Decepticons?
straw. It's straw.
It's a oh yeah, their soup straw.
Are you pulling out your soup straw? But this is.
Megatron quirks an optic ridge. Is that so? You feel him lean closer. Your servos remain steady despite feeling those sharp optics on your back. The warmth of his frame evident all around as he hunches over to watch you work. It takes you some time to remove one servo of the Decepticon, fearing that this was it. This was where he betrays you and snaps your neck. But he simply tests his servo, opening and closing it before placing it to his side and letting you continue your work. Why didn't you call for one of your own for help? You mutter under your breath, but in close proximity, the caves will bounce your quiet question into audibility. I don't remember. The raw energon disrupts communication frequencies. You should have noticed that when you landed. Which you did, hence why you were here. In a hole. In Megatron's lab. Right. As you continue to carve, your internal HUD begins to glow red, warning that the raw energon exposure was getting too high and stasis lock was imminent. You aren't sure how long you'll finally free. You weren't sure how long until you finally free the last of Megatron's limbs, but once you do, he grabs you by the waist, pulling you up and out of the hole and high in the air. You scream, but Megatron simply hushes you, covering your intake with his free servo as he flies over the jungle. You stay quiet, panicking internally as you look down to the greenery zooming past until he and you spot your ship. He lands you next to your ship, not letting you go until he plucks the blaster from you, crushing it in his servo before putting you down. Now, would you be a good little Autobot and provide me with the data slugs located in the storage unit of your ship? As promised, I'll spare your life and give you this. He holds up the item he was keeping in his palm. A power fuse, exactly what you needed to repair your ship. Was he really going to give it to you and let you live if you give him these data slugs? What do? Obviously comply, because I don't want to be on here any longer. You don't even hesitate, knowing that the other had no reason to not kill you at this point. Besides, if you return to Cybertron now, he would still be in Autobot airspace. You could potentially lock him in the area if you reported him fast enough. A fair trade-off to whatever these data slugs held. What were these data slugs in your ship anyways? Were these planted? You need to bring this up with Longarm Prime once you return. Yeah, let's talk with Longarm Prime about this. I'm sure he'll give us the truth and honest answers. Don't you think so, Rogue?
Yeah.
You retrieve them, taking your time as you do so, as the warframe was far too big to enter the small solo Autobot vessel. You take the moment to plug them into your diagnostic panels, running through the information you were about to give up. These data slugs held far too much data about the inner workings and plans of the Autobot military. You felt the ship rattle as Megatron was adjusting something on the exterior of your ship. There wasn't enough time to erase all the data, but you managed to eliminate enough from each slug before Megatron's patience ran out. Hopefully, enough that whatever Megatron plans would be foiled, or at least delayed. You return to him, holding the data slugs, feigning a defeated look. He grins, tossing you the power fuse. Why, thank you for your compliance, little Autobot. My name is Cussy. He chuckles.
You should not be proud of saying that name. Continue.
He chuckles, another shiver running down your spinal strut as he does. You're a very lucky mech, Autobot. Your optic twitches. I need you online for the next step of my plan. Ensure the ship returns safely, will you? If you're lucky, perhaps I'll see you once more to ensure your swift end. You said you wouldn't offline me if I helped you. Before you say anything else, he just simply jumps, a blast of scorching air and dust causing you to cover your faceplate as the debris picks up around you. You look up to catch Megatron's alternate mode flying off before vanishing into the clouds. After a moment of calm, fall to your knees, trying to process what just happened. It takes longer than you would have liked, but you managed to repair your ship with the fuse Megatron gave you. With your limited time after, you try to check to see what was tampered with on the exterior of the ship, but the energon exposure was affecting your sensors. You decide to depart in a hurry, not wanting to go into the stasis lock in the middle of traveling. You return to Cybertron, not unscathed, as the long exposure of raw energon left you feeling faint. So faint, you actually go into stasis lock upon landing. The next thing you know, you awaken in a bright fluorescent ceiling lights and the smell of medical-grade energon. You tilt your helm to look out the window, noticing the darkness in the sky and the lights of the icon blotting out the stars.
How much you want to bet you're gonna beat Ratchet?
Probably. To your other side, you hear a grumble, tilting your helm, and you catch a blurry sight of red and white. Yep, we're meeting Ratchet. A medic. You shudder your optics a few times, letting them refocus, before realizing it wasn't just a medic. It was the medic. Ratchet looks at you, placing the datapad down as he crosses his arms with a disapproving look on his face. Call yourself lucky, kid. If one of the loading dock drones hadn't have seen you when they did, you would have been a walking stasis-locked energon bomb with how much charge you had in you. You should have flown straight to one of the outer planet's medical facilities instead of trying to avoid the parking fees. With the amount of buildup we pumped out of you, we could power the whole hospital for another stellar cycle. I wanted to save on the power bill too. Ratchet just continues to look at you disapprovingly. You clear your vocalizer, realizing how dry your intake felt and how sore your whole frame was. He shakes his helm, picking up the data pad again. So you care to explain how you got in this situation in the first place? Your ship's been taken under orders of the Intelligence Division, by the way. Something about it's been tampered with. He shook his helm. I got enough information on your intel boss bot to know you went somewhere, some uncharted planet on the solar system. But pray tell why you didn't have any protective armor while exploring organic raw energon locations. It was the best to tell the truth, especially to the bot who had most likely been repairing you in the future for any elite guard related injuries. I didn't want to delay the mission, so I skipped on waiting to get a custom suit. It's such a new discovery to find organic raw energon deposits, and protective gear for it is widely available like the energon farm ones. I also didn't expect to stay as long as I did, but my ship broke down and I had to repair it. For a moment, you let Ratchet work around you as he speaks again. Was that all that happened? You freeze, remembering you didn't even get the samples you needed. You would go back at some other time. At least hope Longarm will let you go again after running into fragging Megatron of all mechs. You visibly shiver, remembering the larger mech's grasp around your waist, picking you up like a toy. Ratchet notices this and crosses his arms. You had strict orders from Longarm not to discuss your mission, but the doctor seemed to be staring hard enough to bore a hole into your plating, wait, wanting to get down to the cause of your injuries. He must have noticed scuff marks around your waist. Quickly, he attempts to change the subject. It's pretty late, isn't it, Doc Bach? I know medics are always on duty, but you look pretty exhausted. Actually, what are you even doing here? Shouldn't you be in with Optimus on his search for Megatron? You recall the Docbot being a main member of the well-known Heroes team. Ratchet pauses at the mention of Optimus, moving to rinse off his servos in the sink located across your medical berth. You manage to sit up as he turns off the faucet. Tell that to my position. Ah, that's right, you're CMO now. You recall hearing Ratchet's chief medical officer position in a passing conversation at the... Okay, this is getting kind of boring. So I'm just going to save. I'm going to end the stream here. So, everyone who is watching the stream, thank you for watching. And I'll talk to you guys next
Penis.
time.